Hey, what's going on, drone and UAS pilots? This is Mark Dickinson with mdpAIR. Just going to go over a couple things with you today. Finding your radiuses on Google Maps, finding your airspaces, and also filing for waivers for your flights. Now, what I recommend when I'm going over this here is that I don't recommend filing for each individual project. If you know you're going to be working in an area frequently, file for a COA. That way you can have your area covered and you can go out and fly when you're ready and don't have to wait for the required amount of time for each project. Because as you know, when people try to hire you for events or real estate projects, you're going to be trying to get these projects done as soon as possible, and they're not going to wait, and they're just going to find someone that'll do it outside of the regulations of the FAA. So if you do have your FAA 107 and you want to file for these, recommend doing it under COA. We're going to show you how to do that today. So the first thing that we want to do is we're going to jump in here, and I'm going to show you guys a couple tools that I'm using. I'll have a link in the description. One of those is SkyVector, the website, FAA request waiver site, and the charts here, the study guide charts. This is going to be helpful for you when you're trying to find out information, and also a website called obady.github.io. This is to help you find circles and radiuses here. I'll have all these in the description. You don't have to worry about it. And also Google Maps. We're going to use Google Maps today. But I'm gonna steer you away from Google Maps because it is a good, helpful way to use and find some locations, but it's not that informative for setting up your airspace waivers. All right, so let's jump into it. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at this map here. I live in Daytona Beach, and you can see this Class Charlie airspace right here with a couple of different tiers on it. It has the inner tier from surface to 4,000 feet, about 3 miles from the airport, and the outer ring is from 1,200 to 4,000 feet. Those two airports down below and above are also in the area that we fly in. They are Class Delta airspace and Class Echo after hours. But we won't be using those after hours because we're not using any night flights or have a waiver for flying at night. So let's jump in here and see exactly what we need to do. The reason why I recommend using this here is it's really simple. All of your information here is in your face and ready to go. There's nothing you have to do. You don't have to jump out of any website. Simple way to find out your location is to right-click on it. You can see what is there. All kinds of information here. The different airports and heliports that are in the area here will be visible, and you'll be able to see it. But some of the things that you're going to need for requesting a waiver or an airspace authorization is the lat and longitude of your location. Now, a lot of people have been using Google Maps to find where this is, and I'll show you how you find it with Google Maps. For instance, right here at Ponce Inlet Lighthouse is where I fly frequently. We have an airport right here with Class Delta, which is New Smyrna, and I fly here. So normally I call them and let them know that I'm flying because I'm generally flying for recreational, but sometimes in rare occasion it will be for commercial. So I left click on this location. You're going to see that it tells me that I'm at 5,000 South Atlantic. It got the decimal version of the lat and longitude here, but I don't want that because if you look back at the airspace waiver, it's in degrees, minutes, and seconds. So the easiest way to fix that is to click on it, and it's going to take you a little bit closer in and also provide you with decimal and degrees, minutes, and seconds right here, and you can copy that over. But as I was mentioning, I want to steer you away from Google Maps. It's nice to look at. It's a little bit more visual and you can see kind of where you're at, but get accustomed to finding your locations on an airspace sectional chart. That's going to save you a lot of time. Now, again, here's New Smyrna. This is where that is right here. I know because it's under I'm familiar with this area, but it is showing my EVB or KEVB for that airport. I can see Ponce Inlet right over here, and I can see their airspace limits and requirements here, surface to 1,200 feet. So I want to find the lat and longitude of that location approximately right here. So I'm going to again click on it and look what is at the very bottom, north and west coordinates in degrees, minutes, and seconds. The information for New Smyrna right here. If I click on it, I got telephone numbers. I have all the information I need. I got my radio frequencies, ATIS, and all of that information that I need to go out there and fly while I'm in that airspace. And I recommend having a two-way radio communication system like an aeronautical radio or avionics radio. You can have one of those on you so you can listen to traffic and also tune into weather information if you need to. But just in case you have a flyaway or some type of other emergency and your drone or UAS starts flying towards that airport, first thing you want to do is you want to get on the phone and call them. And if it's not a busy airport, you might want to hop on that radio and just let them know that you're a drone UAS pilot. You are 2.5 miles to their west. You have a flyaway with a drone. just wanted to alert all traffic, and then call them on the phone just to verify that it went over. Because some of the avionics radios, while you're at surface level, do not work for only about 1.5 mile, 2 mile range, depending on the wattage that it puts out. So have your telephone numbers ready, have everything ready that you need to in case of an emergency. This way, you have yourself set up in a safe position if you do have a flyway. Because what they're going to do is they're going to hold traffic and alert everybody on there that there is a drone that is uncontrolled or having a flyaway in an emergency situation, and that's going to help you save some face in the event of an accident or crash, because you did what you needed to do to alert people that you had an emergency. Okay, so let's go back into the map here with the sectional chart. We're going to back up. So within this section here, again, you have everything you need. You have all the ATIS information. You've got your radio frequencies. You've got CNOTAM's information here. And then any other supplemental information that is around here will be visible to you. That way you have a full, well-rounded knowledge of what you're going to be flying and how you're going to be flying. So let's jump into the Airspace Waiver. Actually, before we do that, let's do a couple of those tools that we were talking about. For instance, that Lighthouse Point Park right here, we found that. You can see that if you left-click on it, you can find your location. You can click this and get your degrees, minutes, and seconds. We'll close that out because, again, I don't use that. Now, one of the other things is on the Airspace Waiver, it allows you to do certain radiuses for your airspace authorization permissions. And one of those is a 1 to 2 mile range or a 2 to 3 mile range of a radius for your proposed location. Now, this website here, which is obady.github.io, is the nicest one that I found, except for you can't get GPS locations. You just got to bounce back and forth. And if you do find one, leave a little bit comment in the description there or in the comments. And what I will do is I will update it there if you find one that does both the radiuses and the GPS locations within the Google Maps like this. So the first thing you want to do is you want to left click on it. That's going to set you up a radius. I have my radius set for 3 miles, and you can see my radius does go over the airport there, so this is perfect. But if you don't want to fly out towards the ocean and you know the airspace doesn't go out there anyway, set your radius over here somewhere or in this area right about there, so you do cover your area over the airfield and as well over the proposed location. So we're going to go right here at Sunset Boulevard, which gets me all the way there. That way, if I do need to get a job out here where all these houses are on the golf course, I am covered for this period. Now again, with the waivers, I don't recommend filing for each individual operation. What I recommend doing is doing a COA. That way you are covered for a period of about 6 months. And this way the FAA is less bogged down with all of their system anyway, doing one house here, which is really silly. So let's jump in and show you exactly what you need to do here. I'm going to do mine. First thing you want to do is you want to check this operations in certain airspace. And the reason why you do that is it ticks a few of these here that are required. I fill out everything anyway. And in my autofill, I have everything all set up anyway. So I make it nice and easy. I am the remote pilot, but let's go over each one of these here. First name, last name, organization. This I need to change because it's under mdpAIR. My address where I live at, Port Orange, the phone number, my email address. We're going to update that one to the correct one. Then the remote pilot. Remote pilot is required because that's who's going to be flying. They don't ask for any other information like visual observer or safety team or anything like that. Just who is in charge, because that is the most liable portion of your project here that you're going to be flying. So I'm going to put my name in there. We're going to tab down on that. Make sure everything's correct on there. Address is correct. Phone number is correct. And you want to put your cell phone number on here and in the notes below and let them know that's your cell phone number, because they can reach you while operating is occurring, as you can see right here. They don't want a home phone or an office phone because that's going to be useless while you're out flying. Your airman certificate is required. Your rating is remote pilot. You want to make sure that that's in there. False to a placeholder here for small UAS, but you want to put in rating as remote pilot. The next thing you want to do is your type of drone that you're going to be flying. This one in particular is going to be a Phantom 4, and my aircraft registration number. As you know, the FAA with the hobbyists do not require them to register their drone because of the act that was in place many years ago. You do not have to register your drone if you're a recreational, but in commercial instances you do. So either way, I still have all of mine registered because that way, one, if it's lost or if something occurs, I want to be able to be accountable for things that I've done. I don't fly reckless, so there shouldn't be any reason for me to worry about that. But if someone finds it, they may turn it in. You just never know. So next thing you want to do, you can add another UAS if you want to. If you're flying with multiple people, you can click add and do the same thing right there. For instance, if I'm flying with a Mavic or one of those other drones, you can put that in here. But I'm not going to put that in here. We have our checkbox under operations in certain airspace. That is perfect. You want that. You don't want to mix two of these up and around because they go to different areas. So what I would recommend, if you are going to be doing these, do them separately. That's going to expedite it for you, and that way you don't have to worry about the different waivers down here, and you're just going for airspace authorization, because that is what most of us are trying to get, flying real estate projects or commercial mapping or commercial projects. All right, so the location start date. This is something you got to pay attention to here. You have to, for filing a COA, you want to give them ample enough time to file, and their 3 months, 90 days is their limit for the COAs. So the first thing you want to do is figure out your 90 days from today. We already did this, which is on September. I'm going to put, it's September 9th is the 90 days, but I'm going to put on here the 11th just to have a little bit more variance in there, just in case they decide they want to kick it back because I'm too close, or if there's a short month in the period of time there. So give yourself a little bit of space between those dates there from your 90 days. And we'll put 2017. Now the local start time, what I recommend doing is putting 12 o'clock a.m. because that's when the day starts. And the local end date is going to be 6 months from that date. So pretty easy to do. 10, 11, 12, that's 3 months. 1, 2, 3. We're in March for the end date, so we're going to put on 3. And you want to do this one here, the same thing, 6 months from the date there, because you can, that's what they're going to issue a COA for, a 6 month period of time. So we're going to do 3/11/2018. Make sure your dates are right. They'll kick it back for anything that you could think of. End date is going to be AM. And I was just thinking about this here so that we don't have to worry about any issues with this. Let's put this to daylight hours at 0600. So that way, what I'm thinking about with this one here is that they know that you're not going to be flying at night when you first start there. So let's just put that in there so that they know that you are going to be flying in daytime operations. It won't make a difference. It's just something to trigger with them, hopefully saying like this guy's going to be starting his projects at 6 a.m. That's when sunrise approximately is. So we'll do that. Local time zone, you want to make sure that's in as Eastern. Proposed area of operations. On this proposed area of operations, on this here, what you want to do is you want to put in the types of classifications of airspace that you're going to be flying near the airports and list everything that you can. We're going to type in here flying near and in class D/C airspace that extends into our area of operations. Flights will be no higher than what you want to put on here is your height that you're going to be indicating this. This just triggers again for them that you're going to be safety. If you're near an airport, they're probably not going to give you any higher than 100 feet, so I want to put in there 100 feet just to expedite this. And when you get your authorization, don't go out there and fly higher than 100 feet. Just stick to the rules, because as soon as you have a mistake, that's when you're going to be in trouble. So the proposed area of operations are there. I am now going to put in here for Daytona. And New Smyrna. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on those there the name of the airport, the identifier, and then also, as I mentioned here, you want to put in as much information as you can so when they're reading it, they don't skip over anything. They know that you're going to be flying no higher than 100 feet. And then down below this one here, you're going to see that there is another box for proposed maximum flight altitude. And I don't mind doubling up on the foot there because I want to let them know that's my area of operations. It's going to be at a particular location and within a particular height. So let's jump down to the bottom here. As I was mentioning, we're going to get this one here for the waiver, and I need to get the GPS locations or the lat and longitude. So we're going to do another one. I've already filed for one here, so let's do another location, which is that's skydiving out there. They got a lot of skydivers and balloons out that way. But you know what? There is a jail out here. Let's do 92. Let's do this one out here where the prison is. We're going to fly one right here, get these GPS locations, and have a 3-mile radius approximately from here. And once you do this a few times, you are going to be able to see, like, for instance, what 3 miles looks like on a radius map. It'll be really easy to start figuring out. You don't have to jump back and forth between your Google Maps there. So let's do one thing here. We're going to do I'm going to split these windows up so I can work next to each other. Then I'm going to put this one over here. So I am going to click out here where the prison is, right there, and I'm going to go just a little bit over this way, right on the tier of the outside of that Class Charlie, so that I can cover myself from DeLand Airport right there. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to get this up right here. We're going to come over to the degrees, minutes, and seconds, and just copy that right over. And this is going to be north 29, 6, 21. And the thing is, there's a placeholder down here, but you want to make sure that you put something in there. Otherwise, it's going to kick it back to you. You're going to hit N for that one because we're in the northern hemisphere in the United States and Florida here. So the next thing we're going to do is look at the west. And you can see over there they have west. It's 81, 13, 46. Again, put a W in there for west. So we got, what do we have here? 13 and 46. W. The radius, here's the big trick about this. You don't want to do less than 1 mile. Get the max that you can. If that's going to let them know that you want to fly within this whole area here that we talked about, a 3-mile radius, which again, from this right here, probably is about right about there. That's about 3 miles where my mouse is circling. And you want to maximize that right there. Plus, in addition to this, if you are flying consistently, you can put these out and dot these around in your areas where the airspace is, and then you don't have to keep filing for individual airspace authorizations for your real estate projects. The nearest airport to this one right out here, the prison's here, I put it right here. The nearest airport is DeLand Taylor. You don't want to put Speedway, but it might be beneficial to do that one because it is the larger one with the Class C, but it is the nearest airport right here, and I am going to put that one right there. And theirs is KDD. Class of airspace. Now, remember, you got to know your class of airspace. If you don't know your airspace classifications, come back over to the study guide, and you can find out what everything is. Now, for instance, the blue solid circle, Class B, Class C right here, the Class D with dashed and dotted lines, Class E airspace after hours on untowered airports, and then the Class E, 700 or 1200. Remember those numbers when you're taking your test? You got these shaded areas right here. Well, DeLand Taylor Airport is Class E airspace, and as you can see, you're going to be within that. But it also stops right here. Do you see where that stops? So at this point in the area right here, what airspace would you be in? If I'm reading this chart correctly, you're still in Class E because of where that bounces around. See how it follows all the way around right here? So don't let that confuse you just because it stops right there. You're still in Class Echo airspace in this section. As you see, it goes all the way around. They've encompassed this there for all the airports. As you can see, it doesn't stop right there. If it did stop, it would look more like this guy right here, where it would completely stop. Then outside of here is your Class G, Class E. So don't let that fool you there. That could get you fooled and in a little bit of trouble because that airspace goes all the way around. So we are still in Class E airspace. We're going to file for this one here. As I was mentioning, we got the right click. You can see Lafayette Landings. That's a private airport. So you don't have to worry about contacting them. You're just going to file for this airspace here. So let's do that. Let's make sure we're in there. We have what class airspace, and you can see that we need E, D, C, B. Those are the ones you can file for. G, you don't have to because that's where like kites and paragliders and all the other types of things that operate on ultralight can fly into without any problems. So we're going to set this one to surface E, and it tells you right here, any operations between Class B, C, D, and E require a waiver or airspace authorization under 10741. All right, description of your proposed operation. This is what's going to save you some time. You want to grab your Word or other type of word processing, and you want to have something set up here. And I put on here, I'm Mark Dixon at mdpAIR. Provides photo and video across multiple areas in Volusia County. We are also UAV, volunteer search and rescue for Beach Patrol, South Daytona, and Volusia County Sheriff's Office, including storm damage and other inspections. I'm going to add something on here. Will be conducted at random times. And you can be a little bit more descriptive or say indiscriminate times. You just don't know when they're going to happen. mdpAIR will always assure safe operations. This is something that you want to make sure, and let me show you why you want to make sure when you're filling this out that you pay attention to some of the stuff that they put right in front of your face there. So let's go into here. Let's bring our windows back up. Now, when you're filing for these, look at the three things that they have up here. Review the following information: instructions, performance standards, and a UAS facility map. What I want to focus on is the, let me get it back, I didn't open it, is the performance-based standards. It may not open in a new tab there. Yeah, it looks like we're going to leave. So stay. Performance-based standards. This is all of the rules essentially that you, when you're filling this out, that you need to apply for. Waiver and policy requirements. It tells you what you need to do in here, but what I'm doing is summarizing it for you so that you can get your best ability to get something approved. I want to search something safe. This is one of the things that you need to put in there. Safely conducted, and then we're going to jump back over and look at my Word document here so you can see what I wrote. We'll always assure safe operations in all airspace and verify and adhere to the max AGL in that area. Now, the FAA is going to let you know what you can fly, but you're just telling them that you're going to abide by it. What I'm doing here is I'm saying in most instances, and in almost all instances, flights do not take place over 150 AGL. Even though we can go up to 400 feet, when you start getting near an airport, they're not going to let you fly 400 feet. You have approaches, you have helicopters that leave out of the area on different approaches and departures. So you're not going to have that 400-foot limit that you think you might have near an airport, especially when flying for a COA. So during all flights and in and out of airspace, I use and monitor radio traffic from an aviation radio. Again, if you don't have one of these, I'm going to put a couple links in the description so that you can get one, but they are very, very important to have on you, at least to monitor traffic. I wouldn't rely on some of the ones that are app-based because you could have a delay. So if you do hear an emergency going down, like for instance, I'm flying at the Speedway, hopefully here soon, and it's pretty much on top of airport. I mean, it's 300 feet away from it. And they have a big facility that they can land on. They got a whole runway there. So if an airplane is falling short and needs to land on a taxiway, you don't want to be a minute behind or 2 minutes behind. If you hear an emergency signal going down that he needs to land, and then you start hearing, I'm going to be turning towards Speedway, I'm going to land in Speedway, you need to make sure that your drone gives the right of way to them, because that's that. So two-way radio that is instantaneously sending you the information via the radio frequency is going to be your best bet. You need to have one of those when flying commercial or even near an airport. Plus, it's kind of cool to listen to. You can get a feel for how the traffic is going and how busy the airport is, and learn a little bit from just having one of those. All right, so the next thing you want to put in here is the proposed areas will be in Class D and C airspaces. Even during daylight hours, I use a 3+ mile white strobe on the top portions of the USA to maintain safety. So what I'm saying this for is they want to know that you're being overcautious. So if you put it in here, make sure that you do it, because like I say, I put a strobe on top when I'm flying near the airports so that planes can see where I'm at from the ground. You don't want to put them on the sides of the landing gear. You want to put them right smack dab on top, because planes above you, 500 feet and above, are going to be able to see it a lot easier from there. So they'll be able to see a flashing beacon from there. And some of those strobes are very bright. They're not as visible in the daytime, but at nighttime they are really visible, and that's what you want to do. And again, it may be overkill. They don't require it, but I put it on there just to show a little bit more safety concern that I'm doing. They want to know that you know what to do in event of an emergency, and this just helps you get approved and authorized a little bit quicker. All phone numbers as well as two-way radio comms will be available in the event of emergency. All flights will be done within daylight hours. DROTOMs and NOTOMs will be filed prior to any flight within airspace. Airspace is 24 hours in advance and 48-hour notice when possible. And then a little key here that I learned from, I think it was DroneU or one of the other drone companies, is in the aerial, put this little notice in here. This will help them approve you a little bit quicker and know that you're trying to do things right. In the aerial video industry, a 90-day notice is unreasonable, and the airspace authorization will allow me to fly these missions legally and safely. Otherwise, the likelihood of an unlawful flight may occur with the RPIC without a 107 certification, where ATC FAA is not notified. Thank you in advance. And that's pretty much it. Let's leave it as simple like that. Tell them that you're going to be safe. Tell them you're going to do things legal and right, and go out and above and beyond to show that you're going to fly this in a safe manner. So you want to copy and paste that into the request. Where do we do? We're down here. And you can put tons of characters down here. So we're going to finish up this, and I've got that copied and pasted. Add another UAS. We're good. 100 flight max. 2 to 3 miles. KD. Just post it in there. We're going to put it in there. You can stretch this out so you can see a little bit more. That way you got it in there. Now, the other thing you have to do is you want to make sure that you pay attention to what's here. If you've already filed for a waiver or airspace authorization, check this box right here for yes and no. So, yes, we have. An approved certificate of waiver authorization is under Part 107 that has not expired. Do I have one already? No. An approved certificate of waiver airspace authorization, Part 107 that has expired. No. An application that has been denied. Have it been denied? No. A certificate of waiver authorization under Part 107 that has been canceled, withdrawn, or revoked? No. Now the next thing we do is make sure that your CAPTCHA here is checked. And you're going to go ahead and hit submit. If everything's filled in, it will go ahead and go for you. If not, it'll let you know. They did design this properly to let you know if you missed something there. So that is all I have for you guys. I hope you appreciate this. It's a little bit long-winded, a 30-minute video for you guys. I'll probably cut it down to about 20 with some of the edits here, but this is important. This is how you're going to get flying right here. If you want to fly near airports and you want to have that COA for a period of 6 months, do this. This is going to be your easiest bet. That way you don't have to fight the approval process, and you'll have a little bit more fun flying and a little bit more ease doing your commercial projects. So that's all I have for you guys. Thanks again for watching. If you want to check out the other videos that I have up here for you, and also like and subscribe. If you have any questions at all, please leave it in the comments, and also click the bell if you'd love to see some more videos and get notified when I post something. Thanks again. This is Mark Dixon with mdpAIR.